In January 2023, I received a lot of advice regarding my shoulder. Some of it encouraged me to stay off of it, to see a specialist, get an MRI, or to get surgery. But before I listened to anyone's advice, early in January I decided to test the waters again with a little bodyboarding action on a small drifty day on my Panama Jack llama bodyboard out in front of Treasure Island condo. Mel got some footage from the beach, and I have to say this was one of my scariest surf sessions in recent memory. The water was so cold to this Florida boy that as soon as my legs hit it, I felt like my entire lower half was about to cramp up. I didn't have a leash, so I was worried about losing my flotation device and cramping after doing so. And duck diving, even that low-volume tourist bodyboard felt not so great to my wounded shoulder. It took me way longer to get out than I expected, and when I finally did catch a little set wave, I was more than ready to get back to the beach and reassess my shoulder's readiness for action.
How's your arm feeling?
Yeah, I didn't feel good when I was riding it. And then I couldn't really duck dive because you forget when you duck dive, it's like a push-up.
Yeah.
You put all your weight.
Yeah.
It's really hard to duck dive with only one arm, even on this little tiny thing. So
now it was time to consider the advice that I was being given. Should I A, see a specialist, B, get an MRI, C, get surgery, or D, do-it-yourself physical therapy? I decided to start with the DIY physical therapy route with this very clearly explained and demonstrated YouTube video by E3 Rehab. And I did the Seinfeld strategy, just put a check or X on the calendar when I did 3 of those exercises in a day, as well as a swim and cold water session.
The other day before it got colder, my shoulder actually felt good when I got in the water. This does not feel good at all.
Within a week, my shoulder was achieving much more range of motion with less pain at the angles of strain.
Big deal is I just lifted up and pulled the mask off my head with my left arm. I noticed when I put my mask on too, I was able to tighten it with my left hand. I think it's the highest I've lifted my arm so far, so that's pretty good.
I heard horror stories from many well-wishers who promised me months, years, or a lifetime of consequences for the dislocation, and almost invariably the solution was to see the specialist or get surgery or stay off of it until it was healed, which could be as long as 2 years. Well, staying off of it was already out of the question, with my violin side gig being the most busy it's ever been. One day in January, I came up for my most successful llama bodyboard session, in which I caught a couple waves without too much pain, to see legendary surfer, waterman, and now kiteboarder Dale Barth on the bench observing the kiteboarding conditions, and I asked him if he had any advice for me. He told me the story of how he sustained a massive ankle injury back in the prime of his surfing days, and it was just before he and another local legend were about to go to Puerto Escondido for a surf trip. He received an even more hyperbolic doomsday scenario from his doctors. Never surf again, that kind of thing. He said, well, we'll just see about that, and he started walking on his broken ankle. Made it a daily exercise, walking on the hard-packed wet sand from my old stomping ground where Spyglass Drive dead ends into the beach, as far down the beach toward the state park as he could make it. When he would get tears in his eyes, he would push a little further and then be forced to walk back in excruciating pain. Every day made it a little further until he was able to walk all the way to the state park jetties without a tear in his eye, but he still had to walk back. After 3 weeks of this eat your heart out David Goggins mortification, Dale went to Puerto Escondido and stood up on his broken ankle into the biggest waves of his crew at one of the most daunting beach break barreling waves on earth. And just a reality check for anyone who hasn't been paying attention, this is him. On that very day he had told me his tale. So he's aged well in spite of his devil-may-care attitude towards his ankle. His philosophy was he didn't want scar tissue to form, so he was just going to grin and bear it. Worked for Dale, and so far it's worked for me. But it's been longer than 3 weeks, and while I am surfing again, I cannot fathom facing Puerto Escondido with or without a dislocated shoulder, so I'm still way back there in Dale's wake. But I'm thankful to be back in the water again. The crazy thing about January was how many surf days we had. So I was in the water a lot just getting some video. Here are some highlights from January surf sessions. What do you think? Are we gonna get anything today or what?
Oh, dude, we're scoring today.
We're scoring. All right.
So you can
Scoring?
Absolutely,
Excellent.
scoring, yes sir.
All right. Well, I'm gonna film for I'll probably be able to last in the water for 20 minutes. So y'all better get out there. On this particular session at the City Pier on January 30th, I caught my first wave that actually, I would say, counted as a wave, a left that actually surfed and found some speed. And paddling into the waves, my mind would forget the discomfort to some degree paddling for the waves. It still felt not great when I was just paddling between, but I was able to make it through that session and didn't really feel much pain the next day. So for all intents and purposes, I was back. I was very stiff, but I was able to at least catch waves. So we're back. Got some other opportunities to film, including a little session with Lance Richardson at City Pier skimboarding, and then Paco wanted to do some skate video, so we did some shots at the vert ramp and at Santa Rosa. Put together a little edit set to some old Black Flag. You can see these videos on my Instagram. As far as my shoulder, we'll see how it goes. As of now, seeming okay. February and March provided many new opportunities, so stay tuned to the Surf Vlog for some more interesting content. Some pretty crazy stuff happened this week. Godspeed, until next time, keep it consistent, even if the surf isn't. To see these videos early, without ads, join the lineup here on YouTube. You just need a YouTube account, and for $1.99 a month, you click this little join button and sign up to get early and ad-free access to 4 monthly vlogs. The Surf Vlog, the Masala Vlog, the Violin Vlog, and the Family Vlog. Thank you very much.